Hi, I'm Stephen with AlbertaUrbanGarden.ca. On today's episode, we're going to make hard apple cider. For your convenience, I've placed a couple of way stations along here, so if you're following along and you need to move to the next step, you can simply click them. Starting hard apple cider from apples you've grown yourself does not have to be difficult. We're going to take you from start to finish in this video. The time to harvest apples is when they're ripe and they taste good raw. Prior to any stages, any equipment that comes in contact with the cider has to be cleaned and sanitized using sodium hypochlorite and sodium metabisulfate respectively. Follow the manufacturer's instructions carefully. 2 large totes usually produce enough juice to fill 23 liters or 5-gallon carboy. You can use unpreserved, pasteurized apple juice if you do not have access to apples. Give the apples a quick wash before processing. If you do not have a crusher and a press, a regular juicer will work well. I have a cold press juicer I use to juice my apples. Fitting a brewing bag to the outspout will help you separate the juice from the sauce. The rest of the apple is excreted out the waste chute. From time to time, you will want to empty out the brewing bag into a separate bin. This stops it from getting blocked up and slowing down the juice flow. Once you have all the apples juiced, or 23 liters, or equivalent 5 gallons of juice, it's time to start the batch. Add your pectic enzyme and the Camden tablets to your juice. Pectic enzyme breaks down pectin from the plant's cells, releasing more flavor into the cider. The Camden tablets will kill any bacteria and inhibit the growth of any wild yeast in the juice. 15 milliliters, or 1 tablespoon of pectic enzyme will help settle out the suspended solids and clear the batch. It is important to do this 24 hours before brewing begins to give it time to work. Yeast nutrient gives the brewing yeast what the apples cannot and helps the brew reach completion. 30 milliliters or 2 tablespoons is added to the mix with the pectic enzyme. It's time to add an alternative sugar source. Although the apple juice has a good amount of sugar in it, in order to have enough for the yeast to make alcohol, additional volume is required. Sugar sources can be any fermentable sugar, such as granulated sugar or honey. Add 96 grams or 3/4 of a cup of sugar per 3.8 liters or 1 gallon. This will provide sugar for fermentation. Mix well. Leave it for 24 hours. At the end of 24 hours, the Camden tablets will have worked and will no longer be in solution. If you're interested in measuring the specific gravity before, this is when you should do it. This can be used to calculate the exact alcohol by volume percentage at the end. Add 1 pack of champagne yeast per 23 liters, or 5 gallons. If you have access to cider yeast, it is preferable. You can either dry pitch the yeast or hydrate it with some warm water and a bit of sugar to get it started. You should see bubbles in the airlock within 24 hours. If you don't, wait an additional 24 hours, and then add another package of yeast. In some cases, the yeast has been rendered inactive for some reason. This is rare, but easily fixed. Let the cider ferment for 2 weeks or until there is less than 1 bubble per minute. It is important to keep the temperature between 19.4 and 23.9 degrees Celsius, or 67 Fahrenheit to 75 Fahrenheit. After the initial 2 weeks, rack to another carboy, or primary fermenter, and then back into the cleaned carboy. If you wish to sweeten the batch, now is the time. Unfermentable sugar produce the most predictable results. In this case, I'll use stevia. A general rule of thumb is 28.3 grams per 3.8 liters, or 2 tablespoons per gallon. If you would like to do a smaller trial, try adding 7.4 grams to 100 milliliters, or 1 teaspoon for every 0.4 cups. This will replicate the whole batch. When back sweetened, make sure you taste the batch. Taste is subjective, and you might like the cider a different way than I like mine. Stir gently. Let sit for an additional 2 to 3 weeks. If you wish to carbonate the batch, you won't want to wait much longer. If not, you can wait as long as 3 months to bottle. If you're carbonating, Add 2 milliliters or 1/2 teaspoon per bottle of corn sugar to the primary fermenter. Any other fermentable sugar will work as well. Alternately, you can add it to each bottle. This calculates to 88 milliliters for 23 liters or 0.37 cups for 5 gallons. Rack to the primary fermenter with a tap for bottling. Mix in the carbonation sugar prior to bottling. Using a bottle hose, fill resealable bottles or bottles that can be capped. Seal well and place in a cool, dark location for a minimum of 2 weeks to allow enough time for carbonation to occur. Depending on the apple, it may take additional time to improve the flavor. Sample one bottle from time to time in order to see if the batch is ready. Generally, 6 to 8 weeks is optimal. The hard cider can stay good for as long as 6 months. However, most people don't have a problem consuming it before then. If you wish to know the alcohol percentage, measure the specific gravity prior to adding anything to the juice before bottling it. A link in the description will help you figure out the alcohol content. Thank you for spending time with me today. I appreciate it very much, and I hope you have a fantastic day.